What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be discussing 10 times Dragon Ball Super made no sense. So without further ado, sit down, grab some popcorn, and watch this video. Let's get it. Number 10. Why doesn't Goku teach anyone else instant transmission? Instant transmission is one of the most useful techniques in the entire Dragon Ball series. Instead of having to waste time using vehicles to travel long distances, Goku can simply choose to move at the speed of light and teleport wherever he wants to, rendering any other form of transport worthless. So why hasn't he taught this technique to anyone else? After all, I'm pretty sure that there are no restrictions when it comes to the use of this technique. After all, Goku learned this technique from an entirely different species, so there's little to no reason why he should keep it all for himself. Number 9. Zenkai is pretty much non-existent now. As much as it pains to say, the fact that Goku was brought to the brink of his demise by the ray gun meant that he would inevitably witness a spontaneous rise in power. After all, Saiyans have an innate ability called Zenkai, which drastically improves their power level once they are able to recover from a fatal assault, right? Wrong. Zenkai is nothing more than a relic of the past. This is quite disappointing, especially since this ability played a major role during the Frieza saga when Vegeta was fatally wounded by the Ginyu Force multiple times, but managed to come back with a greater power level. Unfortunately, it seems that this ability shows no sign of coming up in Dragon Ball Super. Instead, we're introduced to new baffling concepts. Number 8. Vegeta became a Super Saiyan Blue without having to transform into a Super Saiyan God. After the Battle of Gods arc, Goku was able to attain the power level of a god simply because he fought in that state for an extended period of time. This revelation angered Vegeta, who simply did not want to lag behind his rival any longer. So he decided to train on Beerus' planet to reach this power level and become a Super Saiyan Blue. This essentially made the Super Saiyan God transformation completely irrelevant. Keep in mind that a Super Saiyan Blue is essentially a Super Saiyan God Ascended, which, aside from being a mouthful, also implies that being a Super Saiyan God is necessary to achieve this step. But for Vegeta, these rules didn't apply. Number 7. Trunks shouldn't be able to keep up with God-level fighters. We all know that future Trunks is an incredibly cool character. In fact, the majority of fans were amazed when he made his return in Dragon Ball Super, and the arc in which he was featured turned out to be one of the best arcs of all time. However, the fact of the matter is that no matter how cool a character might be, there are still limits to their powers. But in the case of Trunks, an exception was made. It goes without saying that Zamasu and Goku Black could have easily wiped the floor with Trunks. Yet, somehow, it seems that Trunks was still powerful enough to not be decimated in a single blow by these two god-level entities. Number 6. The Saiyans from Universe 6 are extremely powerful even though they just discovered the transformation. During the tournament between Universe 6 and 7, it is revealed that the Saiyans of this mirror universe live a very peaceful lifestyle since they didn't have to deal with any strife. This is very much unlike Universe 7, where Frieza had taken over and forced a life of war on the Saiyans. So when Vegeta revealed the Super Saiyan transformation to Kaba, these Saiyans discovered a whole new level of power. In fact, this power is so great that it somehow rivals that of Super Saiyan Blue. This is where fans of the series would start scratching their heads. After all, the fact of the matter is that a Super Saiyan Blue has god level powers and a normal Super Saiyan isn't fit enough to scrape their boots. However, for some reason, the Saiyans from Universe 6 are able to hold their own against Goku and Vegeta. It makes absolutely no sense. Number 5. Gotenks has become nothing more than comic relief. Goten and Trunks played a major role during the Buu saga in Dragon Ball Z. They were perhaps the only people who could pose a serious threat to Majin Buu, and this was made possible through the act of fusion. The resulting individual, known as Gotenks, was a prodigy who is still only the second person to master the Super Saiyan 3 transformation. But in Dragon Ball Super, Gotenks has become irrelevant. This essentially means that Goten and Trunks have become nothing more than just another spectator to epic fights in the Dragon Ball universe, which is an absolute shame. Watching Gotenks ascend to a whole new power level would have been a sight to behold, but unfortunately, it seems that this won't happen anytime soon. Number 4. Piccolo didn't sense any violent ki in Frost, who turned out to be evil. Once the concept of mirror universes was introduced in Dragon Ball Super, viewers expected that the counterparts of characters in Universe 7 would be wildly different. And for the most part, this was the case. Kaba revealed that the Saiyans in their world were the protectors of peace as opposed to ambitious warriors. However, in the case of Frost, he seemed to be fairly decent at first glance. However, he turned out to be just as bad as Frieza. The only difference was that while Frieza was a tyrant who never hid his true intentions, Frost was slightly more devious and pretended to be a paragon of justice, when he was anything but. However, if he was evil, then Piccolo should have sensed the violent ki in him. For some reason, this didn't happen, and Frost was able to cheat easily before getting caught. Number 3. If Whis can turn back time, then nothing matters anymore. The Golden Frieza saga is certainly a pretty interesting arc in Dragon Ball Super. While the anime was essentially retelling the story from the movies, there was still enough extra detail to make it worth a second watch, even though the animation might have been a bit shoddy. However, the ending of the arc is still pretty weird, when Whis turns back time and allows Goku to take care of Frieza with one final blast. If Whis has this fearsome power, then its implications break the entire story. After all, the fate of the world isn't really at stake at all, is it? With the advent of these angels, pretty much anything and everything is possible. By all intents and purposes, Earth should have been finished. And yet, it seems that the world exists simply because the people who shouldn't have played around with the rules did exactly just that. Number 2. Goten, Marin, and Trunks still look young even though years have passed. Apparently, the events of Dragon Ball Super occurred only a few years after the end of Dragon Ball Z. This shows in the appearance of multiple people, who show some signs of aging. However, while the Saiyans didn't exactly change, since they can retain their youth, there's another group of people who should have aged by now, but didn't for some reason. The children didn't really grow up at all. It boggles my mind how the kids still look so young, even after all these years. Yet, as far as we can see, they look identical to their DBZ counterparts. Number 1. Vegito's power is too much for the Potara earrings. Unlike the fusion dance, combining bodies with the Potara earrings is supposed to be permanent. Goku and Vegeta coming together to form Vegito should have been a victory, yet it still wears off. The characters offer 2 explanations, both of which are retcons. First, the earrings weren't made for mortals, meaning that they could have trouble adapting to anyone besides the Kais. Second, Vegito is simply too strong and uses too much energy to maintain a long-lasting union. Yep, it's the same sore excuse that undermined Gogeta's fusion in Dragon Ball GT. And that's it for today, folks. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and slap the bell notification icon so you never miss another update. And until next time, peace.